Time to start Unit 8, which is Building the Business Intelligence Project. So let us begin with this unit. So our very first topic for this unit is Planning the Business Intelligence Project. See, till now, in this particular subject, we have seen that what is business intelligence. We have understood what is the user interface, how do we visualize the data into it, what are the processes required, what is the need of this business intelligence. Now, in this unit, we are going to be talking about actually implementing a business intelligence project into a business. So, a business intelligence project, business intelligence we can call BI also in short. So, a BI project, it is a term which is used to describe the planning, assessment, development and implementation of the business intelligence in our company. So, business intelligence project, if we are talking about, it will include or the set of processes like the planning for the project, assessment of the project, development of the project, and then actually implementing the project in our company. We will be talking about mainly the business intelligence tool that will help the managers to solve the business problems and derive the actionable insights. That means for our managers, it is required to view all the data related to the business, and according to the data, they have to analyze it and make future plans. So this business intelligence project, it is going to help our manager to solve the business related problems and then derive the actions related to it. So this business intelligence project, this we are building for a particular business, and it involves number of phases like the planning, assessment, development, implementation and all. These projects, they require the cooperation between the various company processes, the technology, the objectives and the data, while contributing to set the business goals, usually defined by a detailed business intelligence strategy. So if we are thinking about building such a project for our business, so that will require the cooperation, the support of various company processes that are happening, the technology that we are using into our business, what are the main objectives of our business, and most important thing, the data. Data will be required to create such a business intelligence project. Business intelligence, or the art of utilizing the data to find hidden patterns and insight. It has become integral to the strategy development for the leading organization, including the companies, including government agencies or academic institutions and all. Everywhere today, this business intelligence, this has become very important, because in using this business intelligence, we will utilize the data to find out the hidden pattern and insights of our data, so that we can develop strategies for our future, for growing our company more. And this business intelligence, this is not the part of big and larger companies. This is now being used even in the smaller companies, small scale industries, and even in the government agencies. We are applying this business intelligence project, and even the academic institutions, various universities nowadays, they are implementing this business intelligence project within their system to further grow, to make improvement related to the institutions. So, completing these projects, this is not simple, but the one requiring the company to define the specific business problems, allocating the resources, and evaluating the outcomes from a business perspective, and then operationalize the modeling process recommendation. So today, if we are thinking of building such a project for our company, So it is not a very simple task. It requires a lot of effort, it requires a lot of analysis to be done related to what are the specific business problem that we are focusing on. How can we allocate the various resources to our project? Then how can we evaluate the outcome from the business perspective? And then how can we operationalize this modeling process recommendation? So building this business intelligence project, it requires number of tasks to be done. In a nutshell, if we talk about, so there is a 4-step process to translate the objective into the visible and tactical delivery assignment. If we talk about a simple approach, that what approach can we follow? So we have a 4-step process here. In the step 1, we translate the strategic objectives into the specific problem statements. So why are we building this business intelligence project? So that we can achieve the objectives of the company. So the very first problem is to now translate these strategic objectives into the specific problem statement. That means we have to, what our objective is. Suppose our objective is to make a profit of 20% into the company by next year. So this objective, it has to be laid down in the form of specific problem statement. That this is our problem and how are we going to achieve this. So the very first step would be to translate the strategic objective into the specific problem statement. Then step 2. Step 2 would be conduct a high-level cost-benefit analysis of the options. Now we have to achieve this objective. So for achieving this objective, we have to do a cost-benefit analysis of various options. We have to do like how much cost can we spend onto it and how much benefit it will provide us. So we have to conduct a high-level cost and benefit analysis of various options. Then step 3, it would be define the smart business intelligence goal wherever possible. So we will define what our business intelligence goals are. What are the goals that we can achieve using this business intelligence project? And in step 4, when we're thinking about it, we will define the various global policies, the tools, the roles and the responsibility for building this project. So this is just a 4-step process, 4-step approach to translate the objective into the viable and tactical delivery assignment. Now, talking about the structure of our business intelligence project. If we are thinking about implementing the business intelligence project into our system, so there are a number of stages that we have to achieve. It is not a one-step process. There are different things that have to be done, different stages that are required to complete such a project. The very first stage for building the business intelligence project is the project planning. Project planning part, it will include the overall planning for our business intelligence project. Like what goals do we want to achieve by this project? How can we plan the various resources of our company? How can we adjust the finances of the company? So the whole set of planning phase, that is the first and foremost thing that is required to build any kind of project. Very first thing is you have to plan. What all do you require? What do you want to achieve? So the very first thing of a BI project is also to do the project planning. The second phase comes, which is the business requirement definition. So here, in this particular phase, what will happen? We will gather all the requirement. That what are the requirement of the users who are going to use our business intelligence project. What all requirements do they have? So that is called the business requirement definition. That means what we have to define the requirement of the users. Once the requirements they are laid down properly, then only we can serve them with those requirements. And this requires number of surveys, number of interviews to be done by the users, by the end users who are finally going to use this project. So the second part of our business intelligence project would be business requirement definition. After the definition part is done, what do we need to do? We need to design our system. So we have three phases here. The one is a technical architecture design, where we will design the whole technical architecture. That what all tools we have, what all requirement, what all platform are we going to use, which language we are going to implement our project into. So all the technical architecture design would be done. Simultaneously, in this phase, the process of dimensional modeling will take place. Dimensional modeling means we have to design that if we are building this project, so what all dimensions do we need to consider? Dimensions like we can have different dimension modeling. We can view the data in the form of location. We can view the data location-wise. We can view the data on the timely basis, quarter-wise, yearly-wise, monthly-wise. So all this of dimensional modeling, we have to create the modeling for all these dimensions which we can achieve via this project. After this, simultaneously, what will be happening? There will be business intelligence application design. Now, whatever application we want to build, we have to create a proper design for that. So once these phases are completed, the next would be for the technical architecture and design, the next would be product selection and installation. Like once you have designed the technicalities, that what tools do you want, what all products do we require. So accordingly, you will select the products and install. See, there are number of tools and applications available for building any project nowadays. So now you have to choose, you have to select your products, that for achieving all these technical things, what products we can work on. So that next phase for the technical architecture design would be product selection and the installation. And for the dimensional modeling, it is going to be the physical design. That whatever dimensional modeling design we have maintained, now we have to implement that design physically into our system using various databases, using various data warehouses, data marts. We have to physically design that kind of system. Now, once these two phases are completed, our next phase will be ETL, design and development. ETL, it is extract, transform and load. Now, the designing has been done. Next process will be to extract, transform and load all these designs and do the development of it. And similarly, when the business intelligence application design phase is done, the next would be the development of this application. So basically, after the designing phase, we have the phase of development. So after the development has been done, the next would be the deployment. Deployment means now we are going to implement this project that we have built into the business. We are going to go to the execution phase. So that would be known as a deployment phase. And at the end, we are not here finished. When the project is deployed, that is not the end. The end would be, we have to see for the growth of our project. That means it is a never-ending process for any business to grow. This has to these phases have to be performed again and again for the better and better development of our project. So the next would be to check out for the growth of that project, and again the whole phase starting from the planning will be required to be done. And similarly, along with the growth we have the maintenance part. Maintenance means if after the deployment some error occurs in the project, so the maintenance of that is required to be done. So we may have to do the preventive maintenance, we may have to do the corrective maintenance. So all these kind of maintenance have to be done for the project which is being deployed. And at the bottom we have the project management task. That means we have to manage this whole project. So if in phases we want to see that what are the phases to build a business intelligence project. So the very first phase is a project planning. Second phase is the business requirement definition. Third phase is the designing of the system. The fourth phase is the development of the system. The fifth one is the deployment. And the sixth is the maintenance and the growth of the system. So if we want to analyze that what all phases do we require for building this business intelligence project, so we basically have these 6 phases: planning, definition, designing, development, deployment, and growth and maintenance. So these are the 6 phases that are required to be built for building any business intelligence project. Project resources. So project resources, they are the components that are necessary for the successful project implementation. That means now you have to implement the project. So what all project resources do we require? What all components are necessary for building such a project, for implementing such a project? So project resources, they are the components that are necessary for the successful project implementation. Now, they include the people, the equipment, time, money, knowledge, basically anything that you may require for the project planning to the project delivery phase. So what all things are required for the completion of the project, starting from the project planning phase to the project delivery phase? What all things are required? What all components are required? Whether we are talking about the people, we are talking about the equipments required, we are talking about the money that is required, we are talking about the time, the knowledge, anything. These all comprise the project resources. Now, resource management. It is the process of planning, scheduling, and allocating the resources necessary for successful project delivery. If we want to deliver our project successfully, so we need to do proper management of all these resources. So this process of resource management, it will include the planning, the scheduling, and allocation of all these resources which are required for the delivery of our project. Resource planning, it is an essential part of any project management methodology that usually take place in the early project stages. That means whenever we start about the implementation of our business intelligence project into our company. So the time we start planning for it, from the planning phase itself, we start the process of resource planning. That means if we are thinking of implementing such a project, do we have all the available resources for it? Do we have all the components that are required to implement this project? So the resource planning phase, it starts with the very first phase of the project planning itself. Now, there are different ways in which we can build our project. There are different methodologies which are followed for building our project. For example, we have the waterfall methodology. So, in waterfall project, resource planning, it is a part of first requirement phase where all the resources they are allocated and scheduled very accurately. That means if we are following our waterfall methodology for our system, so the very first thing that we require is to plan all the resources. So within the very first phase, this process of resource planning takes place in the waterfall project. In contrast, in the agile projects, the resource management, it takes place every development cycle. After one cycle has been finished, a new cycle starts with a new resource planning phase. That means in agile project or methodology, if we are following, what we do, we have seen, we have different phases of building any BI project. So after every phase, again and again, the resource planning is done. That are we using the resources in the right way? Do we require any more resources for a completion of this phase? So after every phase, the resource planning task is done. So it is very, very important to manage the resources, to do proper planning for the resources of our project. If we lack in any of the resources that we require, that means we will not be able to successfully implement this BI project. So project resources, they are the utmost need of building any BI project. Type of resources in project management. What all type of resources can be there? We do have number of type of resources that we require to build, but here we have categorized them into 4 main phases, 4 main types. The very first one is a human resource. People are the most important resource in any project and any company. If the people are not there, if we do not have human resources, if we do not have humans, can we build this entire project? So human resource, they are the first need of building any project. People are the most important resource in your project and your company. These are the people for whom the project it is going to be built, and these are the people only who are building this project. So the very first resource that we require is a human resource. We have to check out that if we are thinking of implementing this project, if we are thinking of building this project, do we have enough human power who can help us in attaining all these different phases of building? So the very first resource that we should be concerned about is the human resource. Second is the financial resource. Without them, you won't be able to finance the human resources, won't be able to purchase the material resources and handle the other project costs. So financial resources, they are the second need. If you don't have money, you won't be able to finance your humans, because humans who are working on this project, they would be taking money from you. If you want to purchase any resources, like you want to purchase any tool, you want to implement some methodology, so for all those things you require this financial resource. And we have different project costs. If we think about testing our project, so this testing phase would require some tool, it would require some application. So how are we going to buy it? We would require the financial resources to do it. So financial resource, this is the second requirement of the resources in the project management. Third is the material resources. Material resources, they will include the tools, the equipment, the software, the machines and the raw material. That means what all material do you require for building this project? If we think of building a project, what all software would we be needing? What all machines we would be requiring for implementing these software? What all raw materials do we need? So all these things, they comprises material resources. Then the fourth one is the time resources. Time, it is a non-renewable project resource that is used to schedule the project activities, the milestone and the deadline, and they measure the employee productivity and the project cost. So time is a non-renewable project resource. All the activities that we are doing into our business, so we have to schedule those activities. We have to set a milestone for those activities. We have to set the deadline. Like we have a user requirement phase where we are trying to gather the requirement of the project from different users. So how much time do this particular task require? 2 days, 5 days, 1 month, or how much? So a proper deadline will be required to be set for completing every phase of the project. So we have to schedule all the activities so we can achieve our result on the timely basis. So time resource, that is the fourth most important resource that is required for the project management. So the basic 4 resources that are required for the project management: human resource, financial resource, material resource and the time resource. Now, talking about the project task, a business intelligence project task, it is recommended to include a few duties and few responsibilities. That what all tasks are required to be done when we are talking about building a project. So the very first project task, it can be working with the IT team to launch new hardware and software. That means if we have thought about building a business intelligence project for our company, so the very first task would be to talk to the IT team, that whether we can launch all these new hardware and the software which are required to build this project. So that is one project task that is required to be achieved. Second, creating the policies and the procedures regarding the collating and analyzing the data. That means we have to create various policies and the procedures. If we want to analyze our data, if we want to gather our data. So for doing all this, we require certain policies and the procedures. So another project task can be to create all these policies and procedures related to collating and analyzing our data. Next would be critically evaluating and screening the data, plus profiling to identify any issue. That means we have to evaluate and screen the data that we have gathered. Now we have to evaluate that whether all this data that we are having, is it all correct? We have to do proper screening of our data. So that is another project task that is required to be done. Then developing the new data analysis processes. For building a BI project, we would require new data analysis processes, new ways in which we can analyze our data and we can achieve fruitful results from this data. So we have to develop these new data analysis processes. Then the next task can be assessing the analytics on the ongoing basis. Today we perform the text analytics, we perform the data analytics. So analytics has to be performed on an ongoing basis. It has to be assessed that whatever we are doing on our data, is it all useful? We have to analyze all the data. We have to assess the analytics of all these ongoing processes. Then overseeing the data warehouses, including the collection and the utilization of all the data. We have to oversee all our data warehouses, which include the collection and the utilization of all this data. So we have to keep a check on all these data warehouses from where we are going to collect our data for our business intelligence project. Then extending the knowledge of business intelligence to provide ongoing refinement of the processes to improve the operation. Now we have to extend our knowledge of business intelligence so that we can provide ongoing refinement of various processes. We definitely would require a refinement of the various processes to improve our operation of the business intelligence project. So we have to extend our knowledge on the business intelligence tool. So these are few of the project tasks which are required for if you're thinking about building any business intelligence project.